Before we hop into the video, we are doing a giveaway. We're giving away $1,000 worth of Amazon gift cards and an iPhone 11 Pro. To enter, make sure you leave a like on this video, subscribe to the YouTube channel, and comment down below something interesting that you found in the video. And to better your chances, come back to future videos that we release and do the same thing over there.
NBA players who regret ruining their career. Some players come into the NBA with all unmatched potential, but throw it all away and fade into obscurity. Here are several players who blew their shot to be among the greatest. Shawn Kemp. In the mid-90s, Shawn Kemp of the Seattle Supersonics was one of the most fearsome big men in the league. Kemp came into the league being drafted by the Sonics 17th overall in the 1989 draft and quickly found his place on the roster that included Hall of Famer Gary Payton, Eddie Johnson, and Ricky Pierce. As a ferocious dunker with serious hops, rebounding skills, quickness, and an aggressive play style, the Rain Man epitomized gritty 90s basketball. His dunk on Alton Lister in the first round of the 1992 playoffs is remembered as one of the greatest of all time. He would continue to play like one of the best bigs in the league well into his 6th season and earned 6 trips to the All-Star game, plus winning All-NBA second team twice. Kemp and the Glove were one of the most dynamic young duos in the league at the time, and even though they lost to the Bulls in the 96 finals, most fans thought they would see this duo return to the finals again. After the 96-97 season, a contract dispute between Kemp and the front office in Seattle sent the Rain Man packing to the Cleveland Cavaliers in a trade involving the Sonics, Cavs, and Milwaukee Bucks. Cleveland went all in for the Rain Man and traded 4 players and a first-round pick for Kemp, including all-star point guard Terrell Brandon. That move would come back to haunt Cavs fans for years. Kemp put up career highs in scoring in his first season in Cleveland and took them to the playoffs. But the Cavs would lose to Reggie Miller and the Pacers in 4 games. A lockout shortened the next season by 3 months, but when the Rain Man returned to training camp, he showed up 40 pounds heavier and drastically out of shape. When Cavs coach Mike Fratello asked him how he gained so much weight, the former star said, "Coach, I didn't think we were coming back." Kemp actually played fine that season, but personal problems with drugs and alcohol derailed the rest of his career. The Cavs dealt him to the Trailblazers after the 1999-2000 season, and within a couple years, his play declined drastically. Kemp continued struggling to keep the weight off and even cut his first season in Portland short to go to rehab for cocaine and alcohol. Kemp also had other problems in his personal life, like having 7 kids with 6 different women, and was an overall mess off the court. Eventually, Portland cut the former superstar. Kemp played the 02-03 season in Orlando, but before fading out of the league and playing a year in Italy. Kemp had the potential to be one of the greatest power forwards of all time, but ultimately, he couldn't get out of his own way. Allen Iverson. The rise and fall of Allen Iverson's legendary career is one of the biggest roller coaster stories in the history of sports. We all remember AI for his killer handles, swagger on and off the court, and crossing over Michael Jordan in his prime as a rookie. Coming out of Georgetown University as the #1 pick in the draft in 1996, Iverson quickly became one of the most dominant players in league history and won his first scoring title just 2 years into his pro career, something he would repeat 3 more times from 1998 to 2005. AI was instantly popular with younger fans and brought hip-hop culture and a street ball attitude to the NBA, which had a mostly family-friendly image at the time. Iverson's bad boy persona and unpredictability on the court earned him the nickname The Question, going into his first year with the 76ers. That name was eventually upgraded to The Answer, when Iverson became the solution to all of Philly's problems on the offense. After averaging 23.5 points a game in his first year and winning Rookie of the Year, it was obvious that Iverson was destined for greatness. AI would continue his dominance and go on to win an MVP in 2001 and take his Sixers to the NBA Finals that same year, where they lost to Kobe and a superior Lakers squad. Still, the future looked bright for Iverson and the Sixers for years to come. So what went wrong? A mix of personal conflicts, age, and financial problems were the biggest reasons why AI faded away without winning a ring. Everyone remembers his response to Coach Larry Brown calling him out for not showing up to team practices, which he did often. After Brown left following the 2003 season, everything started to unravel for Iverson and Philly. The next 3 years will be marked by playoff disappointment, 4 different coaches, and feuds between AI and the front office. They finally cut him loose in 2006 and dealt him to the Denver Nuggets, where his production faded next to a rising star in Carmelo Anthony. From there, he bounced around to the Pistons, Grizzlies, and eventually the Sixers again, all the while getting less playing time. AI's financial struggles are also well documented. According to TMZ, Iverson spends about $150,000 $1,000 a month on restaurants, clothes, and other expenses to take care of his entourage of over 50 people. His former teammate Matt Barnes even went as far as saying AI would spend $30 to $40K at strip clubs, adding that Iverson would throw so much cash, Barnes would scoop up and throw some of the bills. That combined with his history of legal issues and age made Iverson a bullet for most teams to dodge later on in his career. AI could be in the same conversation as LeBron and Michael Jordan for the greatest of all time, but his hard-headedness ultimately kept him out of the game. Things turned out much worse for the next player on this list, however. Jay Williams. Going into his rookie season with the Bulls, Chicago fans thought Jay Williams would be the cornerstone to build around following Michael Jordan's retirement a couple seasons earlier. Younger fans probably recognized Williams for his commentating on ESPN, but back in the early 2000s, he was lighting up college defenses for the Duke Blue Devils and looked to be a promising young guard with star potential. Williams entered his freshman season with lots of hype behind him and lived up to every expectation. He became one of the first freshmen in school history to average double figures in scoring and took home ACC Rookie of the Year and National Freshman of the Year honors his first year. The next year, he led Duke to a national championship in 2001 and won both the Naismith and Wooden Awards for Player of the Year. Scouts and analysts were high on Williams' potential, and so he went second in the 2002 draft behind no other than Yao Ming. Williams showed plenty of promise that first year for the Bulls. His play was somewhat inconsistent as he was competing for playing time next to Jamal Crawford, but he managed to make the all-rookie second team that year and was expected to have his breakout season in 2003. However, in the afternoon of June 19, 2003, Williams got involved in a freak motorcycle accident that would change the course of his life forever. When heading home from a meeting with his marketing agent in Chicago, Williams lost control of his Yamaha YZF R6 motorcycle and hit a utility pole. The entire left side of his body ended up clipping the pole, and Jay was sent spinning. The damage: 3 torn ligaments in his knee, a fractured pelvis, and a severed main nerve in his leg. The injuries were so bad, it took over 10 surgeries and months of rehab before Williams could walk, let alone go back on the court. One of his physical therapists said this: "It looked similar to wounds I've seen from military men and women coming back from battle. Like he had been hit by an IED with multiple severe injuries at the hip, knee, and ankle joints." Keep in mind, it was against his contract to even be on a motorcycle. The week after the accident, Williams watched the Bulls draft Kansas point guard Kirk Hinrich from his ICU bed, and at that point, he knew it was over. Later that year, the Bulls waived Jay and gave him $3 million severance to use for rehab purposes. Life didn't go as planned for one of the most promising prospects in history, but it's hard to imagine watching a college hoops broadcast without him. Gilbert Arenas. Back in the mid-2000s, the future looked bright for Gilbert Arenas and the up-and-coming Wizards. Arenas was an underdog story in the making. Drafted in the second round in 2001, Gilbert was quick to prove doubters wrong in his first 2 seasons with the Warriors. He quickly won the Most Improved Player award in his second season, then signed with a terrible Wizards team that offseason. He was quick to turn the situation in Washington around, guiding the Wizards to their first 45-win season since 1997 and 04 and 05, and getting selected to his first All-Star game that year. Fans dubbed him Agent Zero due to his jersey number and ability to make clutch shots in big moments. His Wizards never got too far in the playoffs, but Agent Zero gave Washington fans their best memories in years. In December of 06, he dropped a franchise and career-high 60 points against the Lakers in a thriller. Then he went on a clutch tear of clutch performances that year, earning a starting spot in the 2007 All-Star game before a torn MCL ended his season and the Wizards' hopes to make a deep run in the playoffs. Arenas never played the same after that injury, but the real nail in his coffin would later come. In 2008, Arenas signed a 6-year, $111 million contract with the Wizards and looked to be locked in late 2009. He and teammate Javaris Crittenton got into a locker room dispute that will have a massive impact on the rest of his career. Today, Arenas has his own podcast, the No Chill Podcast, where he talks about his experience in the NBA. But if not for his gun incident, he could have stayed on the court long enough to be a top NBA guard for much longer. Final thoughts. These former stars had what it took to be Hall of Fame players, but couldn't get out of their own way. Let's hope future generations of players learn from their mistakes. That's all for this time. For more NBA content like this, stay tuned to UpNext Sports.